This is Derek Hansen, and I'm going to talk a little bit about red light therapy. I am by no means an expert in red light therapy, but having worked with athletes, teams in performance, rehabilitation, and recovery, I wanted to find out more. You hear a lot about stuff through social media, the internet, and even friends and colleagues, but you got to try it out for yourself. So that's what I've done. I've gone out and I contacted somebody local through a very well-known physical therapist, rehab expert in town, and she recommended this company, Kivo, which is a local company. And I'll tell you why I'm looking at their stuff right now. First of all, when you do research on different products, there's so much information out there. You don't know where to start. So I thought I wanted to deal with somebody local who I could talk to, who I could see, they could walk me through and go through, okay, this is how you should use it, and maybe give me some ideas on how I can use it with my practice. And one of the things I figured out really quickly too was that if you go online and you look at reviews for different products, you're always going to see some negative reviews. And a lot of the time where I saw the negative reviews was on the customer service side. So something went wrong and then somebody has to ship it back, and it takes weeks upon weeks for them to get more information on what's wrong and maybe get their product back. And I didn't really want to go through that. I would have rather deal with somebody in person. So when my friend said, hey, talk to the people at Kivo, and the fellow there is Rick DeCourtney. And what Rick did was he contacted me right away and we set a time. He came to my place and he said, okay, I'm going to bring everything and I'm going to show you how to use it and what the different products are for. He spent 2 hours with me. And right then and there, I'm like, okay, this seems like a very, very sound professional operation. And the great thing is he's let me use the products for a 3-week period to kind of trial through. And one of the reasons is it's not an instantaneous effect that you get from these things. I think one of the most important things I've heard was, people will feel good after using it, but you won't necessarily see full effects of the red light therapy until about maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, depending on what you're using it for. So I thought, okay, 3 weeks, I should get a better idea. I don't want to invest in a technology unless I'm really sure that it can add value to what I do. So Rick was really good and provided me with a number of products here, which I'll kind of go through. And, it's up to you to make a decision on who you want to go through, but I do like the idea of having somebody actually to work with and talk to and ask questions. And as I'm going through the process of figuring out if this stuff works, I can text him and say, hey, how long should I do this, or how frequent? And so that's what we're going to talk a bit about now. But one of the big things that we started with was the large panel. And the great thing with the large panel is that it covers a large area. So if I'm working on, say, somebody's upper body or lower body, or I'm working on sort of a general recovery, then this works very well. It's got good coverage. I can adjust the height. He says usually you want it about 6 to 10 inches away, depending on the power of the unit. So when somebody gets in here, they don't feel too claustrophobic either. So when you power it on, it's a pretty intense light. We'll see how it shows up in the video here. So you can see on, and then I have different settings here, and I can set a timer. So usually 15, 20 minutes. I'll have somebody on here, whether it's myself for general recovery, or the thing I'm working on too is kind of a workflow concept of maybe you'll pre-treat somebody with the red light before you work on, soft tissue work or mobility. And then also I've done it as a post-treatment option, and people just kind of feel good after they leave your session. So I'm talking to different physical therapists and understanding like how could they use it. But I think just as a general recovery tool, a large panel that you can lie down underneath is actually pretty useful. So, and then when we go into some of the other products here, and I think one of the things I wanted to show here was that when you go in, obviously there's a timer, there's different settings for brightness, so you can do different intensities. And typically I'm doing a combination of red light therapy and near infrared. And with the naked eye, you can't really see the near infrared, but you can with the camera. You can see the lights that are illuminated here. They're all lit, where when I look with my naked eye, I can only see part of them, a partial amount being illuminated. So, but you see the coverage there. And so you can change some of these things. You can get it to pulse as well for different therapies. I haven't done that. It's way beyond my sort of pay grade right now. But obviously there's different frequencies you can have it pulse at. And usually I'll just go with the constant. So that works really well. Like I said, just in terms of a general treatment, you have this sort of systemic sort of treatment that you're going to do. Okay, so let's turn that one off there. So that's off. And it's, you know, if you have a good unit, and I think this is something that Rick told me, was you want to get a good product that has a good ballast for power, but also has fans to cool it. You will feel heat when you do any of these therapies, but the heat isn't necessarily the therapy. It's going to be the combination of the light penetrating into different depths of muscle, connective tissue, and you know, that's what you're looking for. But honestly, it does feel nice to feel the heat as well. So we'll turn that off. So we'll go to the smaller panel here, and the one thing to recognize is that this equipment is not inexpensive. It can be quite expensive, and so you can look on the websites and find out how much you're going to be paying for different things. But I will say that you do get what you pay for, because you can see there's a lot of cheaper devices out there. And, you know, I just want to make sure. I don't mind paying for value if I know it's going to pay off. So in this one, same idea. You can adjust different parameters here in terms of intensity. It's got a nice touch screen. So this is the Pro 300 model. And again, timer, where I can kind of just change it iteratively with my finger here. Very, very easy to do. And then different modes, whether it's red, near infrared. This one also comes with the blue light, which a lot of people use for dealing with bacteria on, you know, facial acne and things like that. So that's nice to have. And then again, there's different modes and dimmers, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but there's some programmability, some presets that you can have in here, and Rick said he's going to update it with some firmware to help with that. And so just having that ability to go in and sort of modify some of these parameters is very helpful. And again, this is a good size, and I'll use this one more for, I would say, specific joints, specific muscle groups, and I'll, you know, use it in proximity. Whereas the larger panel, I'm using more for, like I said, general body areas, systemic recovery, just general sense of feeling good and well-being. But this is a little more targeted. Turn that one off. And then you have the smaller one, which is more of a travel unit, and same idea. Power it on, and you can see the light it gives off there. So that would be, again, more joint specific or very specific to a muscle group. And you could mount it or hold it. You know, if it's my knee, I can hold it close to my knee. So that can be very handy. I've found this to be useful just to pack away and take with me, and it's rechargeable. And then this was another unit that Rick loaned me. It is more of like a flashlight. Now again, much more local specific areas you're going to use. So if I turn that on, you can see the light that it casts. You can change the frequency, but much more specific areas. So if you're using a joint or a specific tendon, and again, you would have to hold it, but the value here is the portability and the convenience, so you don't have to carry a larger panel. And the panels can be, you know, relatively heavy, so interesting. And then finally, if you're looking at facial skincare and you want to generate collagen or help regenerate some of the skin and make it look a little more bright and full, you can try the mask. Now, I'm not into this. It does have, I think, the red, near infrared, yellow, and blue spectrums, and I'm getting the females in the household to use this and try it, and I think they like it. I think they like actually wearing a mask where I'd feel a little more claustrophobic, and I would tend to want to just sit in front of one of these panels, and I'm happy to do that in terms of setting this up and starting it and setting up, the blue light setting if I wanted to do something for my face, but I'm not quite there yet. Maybe as I get a little older, I'll be a little more interested in that. But that was kind of an overview. Personally, over the 3 weeks, I would say I've seen benefits in terms of just general wellness. Like, I just feel better doing it. And it's not like, doing a hot tub or a sauna. It's different. Like, those tend to fatigue me a bit, where this doesn't fatigue me. I feel a little more energized and things feel better. I've had some problems with the knee sprain when I was out at the track. I think my spikes got caught in the track, twisted my knee up a bit. And so I've been using both the large panel and the smaller panel and noticed the difference. I've noticed the difference in terms of an acceleration in my rehabilitation of just feeling better. So I kind of do a daily dose of one of these for my knee. My son had a hamstring tendon issue, and we did daily work with the larger panel, just having him there after I would do some stretching and some soft tissue work on him. And so he noticed the difference, and we've got him back. And just generally some clients, I've have a high school football player where we're treating his back, and he's a quarterback, and he just knows he feels better after having done those sessions. And then the other thing I've been trying to do is use it as a complementary therapy. And that's really what I'm doing, whether it's doing some manual work. I use a lot of electrical stimulation. And so I've done some combination of using pulsing electrical stimulation and trying to use the red light therapy to help create just a general sense of wellness and relaxation, microcirculation. And I found that the two of those things together work very well. So if you're looking as a coach, physical therapist, recovery expert, looking at ways to combine and order things, I think is really interesting. So if you live in the Vancouver area where I am, Kivo and Rick, great connection, and I really appreciate what he's done for me in terms of letting me try and experiment, because otherwise you're just buying something and hoping it works. And in this case, I'm getting a really good sense of how it can work for me and how it can help me in my own personal health and my business as well. So there you have it. If you have any questions, I'm not an expert in the technology, but I have some experience now, and I have been bouncing off some questions with different people and understanding that it does help at a cellular level, and it's not just a feel-good therapy. There's actually things happening at a micro level that are valuable. So thank you very much. Hope that helps.